Now, I know you guys mostly work in the lead generation side of account management and maybe consulting and things like
Yeah.
that. So I'm going to surprise you with a topic because we didn't talk about it before the call, but it just
Okay.
got me thinking with your
Okay.
response. So because of that, and I mostly do on the e-commerce side. So I am curious on the lead generation side for lead generation accounts. What are some of the major maybe pivots or tactic strategies that you guys really try to implement and that you've consistently implemented, or things that are new this year that you're implementing when you're considering end of the year budgets, service offering changes, promotions, etc.?
Yeah, interesting. So, yeah, it was interesting you just mentioned that at the end of the year. We find for clients that the end of the year in lead generation, regardless of the industry, actually, no, that's actually a false statement because that's a very black and white thinking. Uh, just got to consider their seasonality, their business's seasonality. So if they're in Australia, it's hot now. If you're an aircon business, you're busy. Like they're like or like HVAC as they call it in America. Um, so the question was how we, strategies for this time of year. Is that correct?
Yeah, pivots, tactics, strategies, things that
Yeah.
maybe you usually always do, or things that have changed this year that you're doing differently.
Yeah, so we find that like a lot of the consulting we're doing with the clients at the moment, they're asking about like Christmas break. We're just like, look, what we've noticed, the trends are in B2B and B2C, people are still looking. So you still want to be available in ads. And if anything, a lot of your competitors are pulling back ads because they're like, oh, we don't have the capacity, but no one has to have the ability to take on the calls
Mm-hmm.
or to do the work, which is fine, depending on like what the actual business is. If it's a very like service-based, timely-based business, like we don't actually have any of those. So I'm not even going to make a fake example. But a lot of the clients we do lead generation for in B2B space. And I'm like, look, every year we see an uptick in leads because a lot of business owners are taking breaks and they're actually having the time to take the actions on things to do themselves. Like, so
Yeah.
we work with a lot of clients who are in finance, or like, mortgage broking or like business loans. So then business owners who are trying to forward project for the year, they're like, look, we need to get ahead of our finances.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I just think it is case by case. I
Mm-hmm.
do notice that December, people need to get this like myth out of their head that just because they're going on break, that it just means that people are going to like stop magically searching for them. It's like,
Right.
no, people are still there. People are still looking. Like, if anything, they're going to be more online, more available than they usually would be. They'll have
Mm-hmm.
more capacity to start thinking about the things that they need to proactively do for the next 3, 6, 12 months rather than just being more in the moment, taking action. So, I that's just something I've noticed, especially this year. I think with Google Ads, I've been saying this all year long. Google Ads is not enough anymore. It's just not enough. You really need to take ownership of the landing page, the data beyond the landing page, knowing the quote numbers, knowing the sales numbers, doing data attribution, doing basic things like lead to quote rate, quote to sale rate, like lead to sale rate, cost per quote, cost per sale, like what the actual keyword was. Like, that's the thing that I'm noticing more and more now. And I have more time to do that deeper with clients is year on year, just in terms of like not even this season, just being really aware of beyond the ad account. Like the ad account is like it's less and less as time goes on, which is wild to say because make a lot of money from it, but it's like it's very ignorant just to think that like the business's success will live and die by the Google Ads account or the Facebook Ads account. It's a holistic package of the lead generation, which would be the traffic side, the page side, the data side, the sales side, and just all of those things and being super across it. So yeah, mate, that's that.
Okay.
What are your
Awesome.
thoughts? I saw you taking notes. Is that for yourself, or you got some questions or thoughts of yourself
Yeah,
for
no,
your
I
own?
was I was curious because I think one of the notes that I mentioned here was just end of year budgets. Do you guys have that a lot? Because
Oh,
when I consult with Legion, it's like we have to spend this much before the end of the year.
oh,
A lot of them work in fiscal years, but some of them work in
yeah.
that sort of January to December cycle. Are you guys getting that a lot too?
Not at all. And a lot of our clients, when very rarely do our clients have that, even if they're enterprise, but it's
Hmm.
usually the end of the financial year, which is July,
Right.
June, July 30 in Australia. So it's usually
Hmm.
aligned with the financial year. The
Right.
American financial year is it March to March or is it Jan to December?
I've noticed. Well, I think it's actually I've seen it vary a little bit. I can't remember the last time I looked at that. It's been a few months, but I work on so many data projects I can't
Yeah.
exactly remember the months. But yeah, it's I couldn't name it offhand. I'd have to Google it
You
probably.
don't even
But
know what the financial year dates are in America.
no, I'm an e-commerce man.
Well, that's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's very
I'm a fan of just in time information instead of trying to learn everything all the time.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah. How do you do your taxes then? What taxes?
Oh no, my
What are
taxes
taxes?
are yeah with taxes yeah January December. I'm sole proprietor, so it's
Yeah,
same as personal for me.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think with e-commerce, it's clear that a lot of the times the budget is uncapped, dependent on like if you're just hitting KPIs. And I don't have any e-commerce that they're like, this is our budget. They're like, look, if you hit this, you can spend as much as you want. Lead
Mm-hmm.
generation, in terms of like the budgets for the year, that it doesn't really fit into the calendar year. It's more the financial year. But then even coming into December, the reality is like they're just like business as usual. Because that's the advice we give anyway. Like, let's not make short term changes for like 2 weeks that you're going to be kind of off. That we've been accumulating data and strategy for such a long time. That was the same during November with Black Friday and all those sales around. I'm like, look, when we're running campaigns and for Black Friday, we'll put them in separate campaigns so you can accumulate data in there and then let that run. So when these promotions are off, your existing campaigns that have been working all year in the non-sales season, their data is not affected. And I treat the
Mm-hmm.
same thing in lead generation where it's like, don't let 2 weeks of you being on holiday disrupt the work we've been doing for a long time. And, if you pull the budgets down a little bit, that's fine, but it's like erratic changes or like, let's change the ad copy or something. It's like, no, just keep it as is. Simple,
Yeah.
lazy, essentially, but just keep it as is. That's my philosophy, and it's working. People might be
Yeah.
like, nah, micromanage that stuff, be across it. I'm not that type of person anyway.